afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand. Welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for May 19, 2024. That's 3:15 p.m. Eastern. Peace is not something to be attained, but realized within the depths of your own being. Pramaloka. To see what few have seen, you must go where few have gone. We have a lot of, there's a lot of stress and anxiety and unknowingness and fear and worry, and you can feel these frequencies, these energies that are rampant throughout this country as well as the world. And it's, you ever notice that it's fast paced, busy. And for any of us to find inner peace and feel like digging for a buried golden treasure amidst mountains of trash, smelly compost, and rubble. Occasionally, we may stumble upon glimpses of tranquility while watching the sunset on our drive home from work, or a moment by ourselves in the bathroom with the door locked. Inner peace seems to be a luxury in our lives these days, and not the foundation of this naturally calm, enlightening existence. When you realize truly that this life is just one great adventure into the unknown, and we are driven by our souls who's yearning for every type of experience. The soul is willing to explore everything, including a journey that is challenged with finding peace. And it is good to know there is a more empowering way to live this life in which we feel enriched and motivated by life's challenges and setbacks. In this warrior exalting paradigm, we see how each war we are creating within ourselves, ironically, leads us closer to uncovering real treasure of permanent inner peace. When the storms of life rage outside, let the calm within be your anchor. Vishnu Priya. There are certain discoveries along the path that can help us all navigate through a variety of distractions, start discovering a state of inner peace that will follow you all throughout your day. Probably one of the most prominent is the word courage, which comes from the French derivative meaning from the heart. When we live in connection with our heart and breath, we see life as an adventure to be lived and not some problem to be dealt with and lived and fixed. With a courageous and adventurous attitude, the levels of everyday stress dissolve as we can fight our battles more playfully, knowing that every soul returns to its source and is victorious in the very end. Another is patience. Inner peace is something that cannot be rushed. Flower does not rush to blossom its beauty and fragrance into the world. So you too must allow your beauty and fragrance to slowly reveal themselves to your life through your patience and relaxation. All things manifest at the perfect time. When we push our willpower on things to manifest faster than they're going to happen, we feel what? Stress. Patience with life means we are aligned with the divine timing of this universe and listening to it very, very, very closely. Another is resilience. We all need a warrior-like attitude to deal with the constant warrior and fearful skeptic within us. It is our worrying that stops us from being at peace in this now moment. When we are completely devoted to our spiritual practice of feeling closer to divinity, we have the resilience of the greatest warrior to remain at peace at all times. Within this paradigm, nothing can shake us. Then we discover that it is our resilience to surrender our ego's will to a higher power in which freedom and inner peace are always the natural final result. And then we come upon acceptance. We can have inner peace at any moment of our lives if we fully choose this. We simply have to dive deep inside and be 100% accepting of everything just exactly as it is. And by choosing total full acceptance of ourselves, our life, our choices, our past, our future, and everyone we've met along the way. The most beautiful peace is the outcome there can be. By embodying these 4 foundations of peace, we naturally behave with others from a space of kindness, trust, and forgiveness. These unlock the greatest stuck door to finding inner serenity: courage, patience, resilience, and acceptance. Patience is not simply the ability to wait, it's how we behave while we're waiting. You ever seen people? They're waiting for something, they're pacing, and they're getting frustrated. They're looking at their watches, sighing, and talking. How long is this going to take? It's ridiculous. I've been here for an hour already. That's how we behave while we're waiting, Joyce Meyer. Now, to take this information in, to digest it and apply it to your life on a much deeper level, overlook faults and focus on merits. When you have the ability to see only the good in others and yourself, something changes in your consciousness. Throughout the day, our mind remains soft, receptive, relaxed. Rather than fighting with the negative mind, you can see all the protective negative emotions that are arising much clearer, easier. Maintain inner peace, inner serenity, by simply repeating the thoughts, God is at peace and all is well in my world. You're the God. Your God is always at peace. Fortunately, the majority of us don't even know what we are. You slowly begin feeling the truth behind this powerful peace, providing affirmation. God is at peace and all is well in my world. As your mind starts to realize that a natural, peaceful essence is always there, yet it's just buried deeper within the hidden realms underneath the matrix of this life. The center of the cyclone contains the deepest stillness. It only takes a small amount of effort to discover this perfect state of awareness inside. Who knows all, is guided by a divine, all-intelligent, universe. The intelligence of life is just too brilliant to make a mistake. When you trust your mind is going to live in the most peaceful paradigm of this present world, you maintain a calm mind, regardless of outer circumstances. You practice detachment. Very important. We all become attached to things. We do. We become, and I don't think most of us even know that we're attached to things. Or if we are, we're stubborn enough to say we aren't. Okay? When we take a baby step back from the mind, we realize everything that disturbs our serenity comes from some kind of attachment to thoughts. They could be good thoughts that you want to be true, or bad thoughts you're resisting. It really doesn't matter what side of the fence you're on. When you stop to see that who you are is the unchanging eternal witness behind these thoughts, and placing your full awareness there for 30 seconds, you drop into the observer of every thought and detach from their mental energy. By understanding that your desires are thoughts with a strong emotional charge behind them, you find the master key is finding peace with your desires, exploring how liberated you are in every new moment. Cultivate compassion. Every human being was once an innocent newborn baby who was completely void of any negative perception and attitude towards oneself and this life. When we look for the inner child in others, we stop blaming them and having compassion for them. This compassion is felt and received by our own bodies, allowing us to drop deeper into peace. Human beings will always disappoint you, especially if you are attached to your expectation of, but with compassion. Leading the way, you will always find peace, no matter what happens. Surrendering to the present. The present moment is the only place we will ever find peace when we are completely surrendered to the moment. The past and future are nowhere to be found. We are living only here and now in this experience of life. And this brings such a deep sense of freedom that it is the foundation to all inner peace. Be devoted to this moment, and only this moment, for the rest of your life. And inner peace will follow you wherever you go. When you realize how perfect everything is, you will tilt your head back and laugh at the sky. Buddha. Through our lives, we have been challenged or marked by grappling with the concepts of destiny and free will. Initially, you may believe everything is predestined, which a lot of people do for a very long time, that everything's predestined to happen as it will. And then struggle with the idea that your choices might not matter. However, surrendering to the grand divine will of God and the feminine flow of grace, this will completely transform your perspective. You ever notice I'm sure you have, that have you ever sat down and planned something, right? It's a trip. And you're very meticulous. You've got everything in order. You plan this, you plan that. This event's going to happen. They're going to do this. You're going to do that. And you plan it all out. You spend a lot of time, very tedious, detailed, and arranging everything. And it doesn't work out. Something happens. Plans go down the tubes. And you're just kind of left there. Now, some people that experience this say, you know what, from now on, why plan anything? Just go with it. We're going to take a trip, let's take a trip. You know, whatever happens, happens. And but we've been conditioned that we've got to know everything. We have to have everything in place, right? And many people meticulously plan their future, becoming a family, having, whether you're a man or woman, right? You're the family man, family woman, by the age of whatever, 30, and then something happens. And it all unravels. And then at times we get to such a point that we have literally created this point that you just basically say that you have no choice, so you just surrender to God, trusting in a higher plan. This act of surrender is never easy for any of us. It requires us to release our judgments, rigid expectations, fully embrace the uncertainty of our future. But as you let go, a remarkable shifts occur. You'll feel a profound sense of relief. A deep river of inner peace begin flowing naturally inside, and new opportunities begin to emerge. True peace is not the absence of chaos, but the presence of serenity within it, Amara joy. See, when you're in the middle of a storm, right? A storm, it has an eye, and in the eye it's just pristine, super peaceful and still. And you realize, if you do discover for yourself that by being in the eye of the storm, you're always at peace. You're never not at peace. You're always at peace. And when we look at the understanding is that the most, in many people's lives, the most significant moment of clarity arises inside of us when we're coping with deep personal loss. Instead of trying to rationalize the pain, some of us choose to turn inwards for a higher truth, surrendering our grief to a higher power. And this brings in, surprisingly, solace and strength. So we have these two energies in our lives, two opposing energies of free will and predestination. And we're actually complementary instead of contradictory. Free will needs predestination to exist and vice versa. They rely on each other for the totality to remain whole. And when you relax into the meeting point and middle path of polarities, that's the eye of the storm, they begin dancing in your life as one. And when this moment happens, your whole world resides in deeper inner peace. And what do we look for? We look for what? Peace outside of us. We're looking for peace. Isn't it peaceful here? This is so nice. I wish I could feel this way all the time. Okay? And in actuality, the peace you're experiencing is within you. It doesn't matter where you're at, what you're experiencing. You can always experience total peace. Like I said, the eye of that storm. And really nothing that comes along, because you're constantly practicing of being in the now, you come to an understanding with yourself that you're not in it, you're outside watching it. When we're in it, we become seduced into those frequencies. But we have enough courage to step back, just a tiny step from the mind. Then we can just sit and watch. It's like you're in the middle of that storm. You're just floating there. And you're looking at all this debris and turmoil and darkness and wind and all this stuff just swirling around you. But where you're at is complete peace, because you're in the now. And you practice being in the now all the time, so you'll get to an understanding that I don't live in tomorrow or yesterday. What do you want? What have you had people ever say to you? What do you have planned for tomorrow? What do you have planned for the weekend? That's pretty the norm amongst us, isn't it? Friends, neighbors, or that people will just ask, what are you going to do tomorrow? Now, understand, you're in the now. You're in that moment, and it isn't tomorrow. It's now. It's like today. What are you going to do tomorrow? And your answer is, I really don't know. I am in the now. I stay in the now. The now is all I have. It's all I'll ever have. Now, most people don't think of that. It doesn't dawn on them, because they don't know that they're always living in the past or the future, yesterday or tomorrow. It's like I said, you wake up in the morning, you're immediately thinking about tomorrow, and you haven't even begun to live today, in the now. Now you can start to understand and see why so many people on this planet are frustrated, worried, stressed, anxiety-filled because of the surroundings and what's taking place, right? Because they're not living in the now. They're living in yesterday or tomorrow. I wonder what's going to happen next week. I wonder what's going to happen a month from now. How long is this going to take? Is it going to take another year, 2 years? And the interest, you kind of laugh at it, right? We do it. Nobody else does it. We do it. And when you understand that we're on this grand adventure, being in these bodies, right, and experiencing things in the material physical world. Now, in order to experience things, we have to create them. Now, we don't know that we create them. We really don't. We just think that the way we've been trained, organized, structured, programmed is that, no, it's the way life is, the way things go. And all along, you're the architect, you're the builder, the contractor, you're the designer, you're everything. And so as we're on this grand adventure in these bodies, in the material physical world, we create stuff. To do what? To entertain us. Because we're only here for a short period of time. We leave the body and that life's done. So while we're in the body, the short time that we currently have on this planet in these bodies, we really do make the most of it. And what's making the most of it? It's discovering who and what you are in that body. The sooner you can do that, the more your life will be absolutely magna glorious. Most of us put the cart before the horse. Doesn't make sense, does it? And we go out there, and we don't know that we created everything around us. Sounds really strange to many people. Why? Well, where's the confidence, the faith, and the trust in oneself? Not there. Due to programming and certain influences throughout our lives, not there. And then, of course, the ego mind isn't going to have anything to do with that. Right? You find inner peace and you live in the now, the ego mind, where is it going to go? Doesn't have any place, does it? When you move yourself out of yesterday and tomorrow, and you practice the now as much as you can, what happens? Your suffering, worrying, stressing, and fearing, conflicts with yourself, end. They're gone because they don't exist there. I believe that the majority of us on this planet, sooner or later, will come full circle and realize that I've been creating my life the whole time. I've been creating everything in my life the whole time. Nobody else has. There's no critter that comes in and waves a wand and says, here, I'm creating this life for you. You create it. You're the God. You're the source. You're the divine source of creation. Doesn't it make sense that you would design your life, that you would create it? And now, yeah, it might be that you do it one step at a time. So you have this come in and that come in. And yes, you feel challenged, and where did this come from? Isn't what came from me. It came from me. That's where it came from. Well, isn't that interesting? I want to take a look at that. That's intriguing. So I'm the one that created this, that I'm experiencing this right now, absolutely without a shadow of a doubt. Then, see, you bring in your childlike curiosity, and you go, wow, why have I brought this in? To what extent, adventure am I looking at to experience? Right? That's what isn't it, don't you feel that this life that we're currently in, all of us, that we're constantly seeking something to do what? To entertain us. We're always seeking something to entertain us. Now, the majority, since the majority are still in bicameral mode, they don't know that. It doesn't, there's no calculation there. It doesn't register. Those that are somewhat aware, it registers. They start going, wait, okay. So I master my thoughts. And I learn from the ego mind. Right? I embrace the ego mind. I learn from the ego mind so that eventually the ego mind won't exist. And the way that happens is that I end up being in the now all the time. And being in the now, you practice as much as you can. You don't overdo it. It'll just come in naturally because it feels good. In the beginning, you feel like you've got to, I don't have time for, I got to get here, I got to do this. I don't have time for this stuff. I don't have time to sit here and be. I've got things to do, places to go. I've got plans. I've got appointments. I've got to get these things done. Now, what now? Okay. Look at that scenario. Look at that picture as a watcher. And then you begin to realize how futile that is. When the majority of us on this planet are rushing, worrying, stressing, and fearing, living in yesterday and tomorrow on a continual basis, grappling with our ego minds, who is the master for most of us, on a continual basis. So we're suffering. We get disappointed. We get let down. Yeah, we have some moments of joy and stuff and happiness, but it doesn't stay. It doesn't stay. Because where's it coming from? It's coming from the ego mind. An ego mind, as we know, is never satisfied. It's highly insecure. And this is why when something happens, right? It could be in your neighborhood. It could be at night. You ever notice that, say, a house in a neighborhood is on fire? Or you're traveling somewhere and you come upon an automobile accident, right? What do? What is our first direction, or what is the attention getter for us? Well, we want to know what's happening, and is anybody injured? Are there any? I wonder if anybody's. Have you ever done that? I wonder if anybody survived that wreck. Wow, did you see those cars? We gravitate to that. Why? We're controlled by the ego mind. Okay. That's why. We gravitate towards the insecure, negative conjecture in most cases. That energy, that frequency. Now, on the flip side, in the heart mind, what would we do? We would just say, as we drive by or we're watching, I have faith no one will be injured, or no one's injured badly. And you move on. You just drive by. You're not, well, maybe I could just stop there or whatever. You just move on. Because this is your life. No one else's. It is your life. You're the God in that body. You're the master and commander. You really are. Yeah, there's things that have been thrown in the body, that are in the body, that the body inherits, lifetime after lifetime. And we get in the body, and we don't know who and what we are. And we're never told who and what we are, and it's never shared with us. Because why? Because no one else knows who and what they are. Isn't that ironic? So this is why things continually repeat themselves. This is why throughout the past, throughout the ages, you can find time, right? Now, yeah, the time might be different, and the clothing and whatever, but the core issue is the same thing. And then years and years and years, and we repeat it again, and again and again and again and again. Because we don't know who and what we are. Nor do we spend any time or decide to spend any time going within, because we're too seduced in that exterior, the material physical world. You got to get here, you got to do that, this has to be done, that has to be done. What am I going to do about my power bill? What am I going to do about this? What am I going to do about this? And then it just you're catapulted down. And you start questioning more and more. You ever notice that? It starts out maybe on the surface, and then it just keeps building. And it's not like we do it on purpose, because we don't. But we convey it and we expand upon it. And all of that frequency and energy, the universe keeps sending it to us. Like attracts like. But we're not cognizant. We don't comprehend that. So it just comes in. And then we're going, have you ever been to the point where you feel like you're getting hit from all sides? Right? We've all been there at least once. It's like boom, 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 boom. And you're going, geez, when is this going to end? And then you stop yourself and you go, well, you know what? I'm the one creating this. I'm the one that can alleviate it. And how do I alleviate it? By going into the heart mind and concentrating on the now. And a big, big, big thing. It is, I don't believe that they just don't realize how powerful and impactful gratitude is in our lives. It's huge, huge. One might go, well, how can I be grateful when all this stuff is happening? Well, you created that stuff. How are you going to know? When you know that you created this stuff, and you're not angry with yourself, you're gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself. You go, wait a minute, I'm creating this stuff. Everything I'm experiencing right now, I have created. So how do I move out of that? You start focusing on gratitude. And it doesn't have to be really specific. You could just sit and say, I'm deeply grateful for the very moment I'm in. And you feel a change, a shift, every single time. Not from the ego mind, from the heart mind. This will immediately shift things for you into a much higher vibrational frequency. You need to say it 1,000 times, so be it. But the frequency of gratitude is from the heart mind, not the head. It's never in the head, it's in the heart mind. We're grateful to be in the very moment we're in. We're grateful to be in these bodies. We're grateful every morning that we actually wake up. I don't care if you're 15 or 125. But we're grateful. We're grateful that we can see things. Now imagine yourself all of a sudden waking up one morning and you're blind. You can't see a thing. Happened overnight. Yeah, wouldn't that be interesting for you? It happens to people every day in this country. But if you do it from the head, the impact is minuscule. Because the mind will shift gears constantly. Go off here, go off there, go off here. And if you're in a low frequency and the ego mind goes over here, then you're going to apply that low frequency over here. And then over here and over here and over here. So it is really truly about you knowing you. That's what it's about. And the way you do that is the relationship that you have with you inside that body. See, we do have the ability, all of us, is when we've got things, you ever try to will something, force it, will it. I mean, I've seen people try to have babies, right? And they keep trying and they keep trying and they keep trying. And they work overtime and it's stressful and it's disappointing. It's like, oh no, this is another one that didn't work, another one that didn't work. Rather than just surrendering your free will to a higher plan and power, which is not about relinquishing control, but about gaining peace and purpose. And by trusting in the divine plan. What's the divine plan? What is the divine plan? You're the God in that body. The divine plan is to experience. And for us on this planet, the divine plan is for us to discover again that we're the God within the body. That's the divine plan. Enjoy our lives. Know who and what we are. Be at peace within. And see, when you trust this truly in your heart, even when it is not visible, it will bring in a newfound sense of freedom and joy into your life. Every day. Every day. Each day. You can strive to surrender your ego with all its fears, doubts, and desires, and to allow divine guidance to lead the way for you. It can profoundly enhance your life. It can foster a deeper sense of peace and fulfillment. See, when you're surrendering to God, you're acknowledging the fact that you're not the body. You're not all these problems and situations that you've created for yourself. You're surrendering to who and what you are. You're surrendering to the God that you are in that body. And that's what it becomes, a transformative journey revealing the beauty of trusting in a higher power. You, the God that you are. Now, how many times have you been presented with things where you go, oh, I can't do that? You ever done that? How in the heck do they expect me to do that? You've ever said that to yourself? That's a no way Jose scenario. Forget it. But when you think to yourself within, do the things you think you cannot do. Do the things you think you cannot do. You see, this is like it's for all of us. It's kind of a generic roadmap, right? And we're all one, each experiencing different forms of life, different kinds of things, plethora of happenings. And at least we come to the point of knowing that, okay, over here, I can choose to allow the ego mind to rule me, guide me, and basically take me through this life until I leave this body. And living in yesterday and tomorrow. Over here, I can master my ego mind through leaving it alone and watching it, not judging. And eventually the ego mind will take a back seat, and then further on it will no longer be. And this is a process. Now one might say, well, if you take the ego mind away, how are we going to be motivated to do anything? We're just going to sit around and be at peace? You see, we're so conditioned in living a certain way that anything that comes outside of that conditioning is a tough nut for many people to crack. Because it just, when you're not used to doing certain things, it doesn't feel right, right? Because you've never really done it. So it's not comfortable. And you're like, I don't know, this doesn't feel that great. And then in the regular life that you have created for yourself, this is the ego mind life and not the heart mind. Things are comfortable because you're in this mode, this movement of being disconnected from the God that you are within that body. And so you flow with the ego mind. You have things that happen that are happy and wonderful and experience things. And then you have the other things that are depressing and disappointing and let down. But you start to differentiate. You begin to realize, okay, so my ego mind, my head, I'm not interested in being there. I am interested in being in the now and in my heart mind. So it's our choice. No one and no thing is going to do that for you. No one and no thing is going to do that for you. A flash from out in space, virgins, it's you that are going to do it. And only you. And this affords you to know yourself more, to love yourself more, to embrace yourself more, to be more gentle, kind, and generous with yourself and humble with yourself more. To not take this life too seriously. Because after all, it's temporary. Right? This isn't our forever. This is just a moment in existence. And then we move on and move on and we keep moving on. And we inhabit other life forms and we experience those. And we keep moving on. And you begin to realize that all the things that have programmed us on this planet throughout the ages are coming from where? The ego mind. Exactly where they're coming from. Bicameral mind, ego mind. So we keep teaching, right, each generation the same thing pretty much. Do you think we're going to do any kind of evolution? No. We will stay pinned in this process where we repeat because the majority of us don't realize that we're being commanded and controlled by the ego mind. And we have a choice. We always do. We have a choice. I'm not going to do that anymore. I know it. I'm deeply grateful for it. But now I'm going to start practicing being in the now. Because I'm really not interested, and I don't care to participate in yesterday and tomorrow. Now that's not easy for the majority of people. It just isn't easy. It's downright very, very challenging. Because remember, the ego mind will do everything in its power to keep you in yesterday and tomorrow. That's it, period. It will pull you out of the now as much as it possibly can to keep you out of there. Because it knows that eventually, as long as you stay in the now, it has no power over you. Zero. Your mind chatter doesn't have any power over you. All those thoughts that come in, 60,000 a day, don't have any power over you. Your stresses, your worries, or all those things don't have any power over you because you're in the now, moment to moment. And you practice it. You might be doing something, and for a lot of people, it's challenging because we're so used to wandering all the time into yesterday or tomorrow. I've got to do this tomorrow. And you're in the middle of the morning, and you're already talking about what you have to do tomorrow. When's this going to happen? When is this going to take place? When's that going to take place? When am I going to get this and when am I going to get that? When am I going to get this back? And you think you're patient, but you're not. You're the opposite. And you get frustrated. Then you get irritated. And it's just like you keep attracting the same types of frequencies. So in the quiet time of this meditation, focus, if you will, on you in the now, to relax deeply into the experience you're having right now. The very moment. The moment. Relaxing deeply into the experience you're having right now. Now join you in the meditation. I'll return to close us out. Take a deep breath in through the nose. And slowly, breath from out of the mouth. Remain still. This universe is your playground. You can be whomever you choose to be. There are no rules on who you can or cannot be. So who do you want to be today? What thoughts and beliefs do you most want to have that will take your life in the new direction? Create an inner map for yourself, a guide that arrives at your ideal future state of mind. Start by exploring what thoughts you like to think about and write them down. What does your favorite teacher or master usually say, whatever the source? Think about or focus on. What will it feel like for others to be around you when you're in this new state of mind? Randomly ask yourself several times today, what am I thinking? Is this thought creating who I want to become? Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the evening and night, the following morning. We will return here Monday, May 20, 2024, a little after 3:15 p.m. Eastern, to continue our global guided meditation call. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, and purest of the purest purest. Eternal gratitude at all times. And watch the magic flow in.